This is Isabel Lerma from Lerma Words of Healing, and you're listening to Heartbreak Anonymous, the podcast that helps those suffering from grief or heartbreak reclaim a life of vitality and get to self-healing gratitude. Today, we're talking about Kinsugi, the Japanese art of repair or illuminations of imperfections and flaws, and turning it into something even more stronger, more beautiful, and more precious, and how that ties to heartbreak. Please be sure to subscribe to future episodes of Heartbreak Anonymous. What is Kintsugi? Kintsugi is the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery with lacquer dusted or mixed with powdered gold, silver, and other precious metals. This process can take several months to do, and as a philosophy, it treats its broken pieces and the repair of it as part of the history of an object to celebrate, highlight, or illuminate rather than something to disguise. So kintsugi isn't about trying to repair a broken piece of pottery, making it look like it had never been broken before, but it's actually highlighting, illuminating the cracks and the breaks in the pottery. And doing so actually makes the pottery stronger, more precious, and more valuable because of it. The technique of kintsugi translates as golden joinery, and the theory of this invention dates back to around the 15th century, where the 8th Ashikaga shogun, the Ashikaga Yoshimasa, who was born in 1436 and 1490, had sent his favorite tea bowl to China for repairs. Back then, they used metal staples to fix the broken tea bowl, and it displeased him so much that his Japanese craftsmen came up with the art of kintsugi. Now, the collectors became so enamored with this new art that some were accused of deliberately smashing the valuable pottery so it could be repaired with kintsugi. It makes me think of our hearts when we go through our own heartbreak. So many times I've been thinking, what if you willfully chose to break it? Knowing that the breaks are what allows for such beauty to come from the imperfections. And I know that sounds a little bit crazy. I mean, how can you purposefully break your heart, and why would you want to do that? But in a way, we already do it every day. And we also did it on the days that our heart did break, whether we knew it or not. And even though we couldn't control how other people reacted, we controlled ourselves when we were. So what did you do during that time of repairing your heart? Are we merely putting metal staples to put our hearts back together? Or are we illuminating the parts that cracked? Are we filling it with beautiful, precious self-love and gratitude? For it is that which makes our heart stronger, more precious, and more valuable than a perfect heart who's never had their heart broken, never gotten to experience what comes after heartbreak. You know, when I look back at my history of heartbreak, it feels like I did everything I could to avoid it. You know, that was my story. And I didn't realize that because I had never really dealt with my heartbreaks, not completely, and I was functioning with metal staples, having it all together, that it was really, really, really hard to have a real relationship that really would have lasted past a certain point in time, because it just feels like, you know, you have your heart broken so many times that there just wasn't any way of putting it back together. And I never even thought of those imperfections and those heartbreaks as actually something that I would value. But now I do, because I don't think I could be with my partner now if I hadn't gone through the heartbreaks of my past. because it was in those heartbreaks that I really started to learn who I am and why I am the way I am and what I really wanted and what I was willing to be and not be. As a philosophy, Kintsugi draws on the philosophy of wabi-sabi, an embracing of the flawed or imperfect. This is something that I really, really was so grateful about my partner, because so many times in our relationship, he would tell me how he found some type of a flaw or imperfection that I saw. He seemed to celebrate it and to love it and to appreciate it so much more than I did. For some people, marks or use of wear are seen as signs of imperfections, but for some others, that aesthetic actually raises its value, like the older and more used it looks, highlighting the breaks, cracks, and repairs as an event in the life of the object rather than a reason to end it because it's no longer perfect and undamaged. When I read that and hear that, I think of how many times I felt like I was, used and imperfect, and nobody would want me after, like that was kind of the thing that would run through my mind, that I was so broken and imperfect that nobody would want me, versus this is why someone should want me or someone would want me, because, or would choose me because of the experiences and the crack that I have are exactly what makes me beautiful and unique and different. Kinsugi also relates to the Japanese philosophy of no mind, or mushin in Japanese, which valued non-attachment, acceptance of change and fate as part of the journey of human life. And that's something that really speaks to me as well, because when you are so afraid to lose someone in your life, let's say it's heartbreak or friendship, or just honestly anyone you really love in your life, you get into this fear of losing them, either sometime through no control that you have of whether or not that's going to happen. And that fear can really just stop us from actually loving this person and accepting them as they are, because we're just so worried about losing them that we operate as if we will, versus being willing to lose them, being willing to let them go and be free, being willing to accept them exactly as they are and not try to change them, try to make them something that they're not, or try to force them to live your values when you aren't even living yours, because if you were living yours, you would want them to live in theirs. And I think that's really like the most beautiful and best part of what I do with the Learn with Therapeutic Writing method. In my own way, this is how I do my own Kinsugi, is I help people by teaching them the Learn with Therapeutic Writing method, as well as writing with them at the same time, to help them transform their pain into art, to see that their heartbreak was actually something that helped them, not just hurt them, and was actually a gift. It's actually something to be not proud of, but appreciated, something to be grateful for. In this sense, we can take some of the philosophies of Japanese art of Kintsugi and apply it to our lives. If we can see the beauty of this art because of its uniqueness, the history, the story, the cracks, the repairs, and the markings made on this beautiful art pieces, way beyond the price it would be had it stayed perfect and unbroken. And I hope that you see this for you as well, that You're even more beautiful, more amazing, more perfect, because you're not perfect and unbroken, and you never took a risk, and you never got hurt, and you never learned. I am who I am because of the heartbreaks I received in life. Every step led me to loving myself and accepting myself. Every entanglement that I thought hurt me actually helped me, and vice versa. Things that I wasn't willing to look at before doing this work. And it was the heartbreaks who showed me who I really am, what I truly wanted, what I was willing or not willing to be. It was the moment that I illuminated the cracks in my heart that I began to heal it. I removed those crappy metal staples that didn't do too much and began to fill all the cracks with as much love and gratitude as I could. And I still have a way to go. I have many cracks, some big and small, that I still get to illuminate. So I hope that you'll join me and find out for yourself about the Lerma Therapeutic Writing Method and how you can apply it to every aspect of your life. My webinar is going to be on tomorrow night at 7 p.m. I'll talk all about the Lerma Therapeutic Writing Method. You'll also get a prize if you show up. I hope you can make it. In case you can't, you can also book a free discovery call one-on-one with me. Let's make and transform your pain into your art. Your very own Kinsugi. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Catch us next week at heartbreakanonymous.com. My name is Isabel Lerma. Keep writing, and I'll talk to you soon.